Hi guys, and welcome back to the Video Game with Powers. I'm Jake, and in today's video, I'll be giving you my review of the card game Druid, formerly known as Darkness. Now, Druid is a strategy card game, 2 to 5 players, right around 30 minutes per playthrough, ages 10 plus. This is designed by Taylor Hayward and published by Meadow Games. If you guys are not familiar with our review process, we go a little bit more in depth than maybe some other content creators do, and we break the game down into 7 different categories. These categories are theme, components, setup, length, difficulty, replayability, and price. Within each of these 7 different categories, I give these criteria a number value equivalent to the BGG system. And at the end, after I've gone through all of these different categories, I will wrap the video up by giving you my overall review of the game. One last disclaimer, guys. I do want to note that this is a 100% honest, genuine review. I received no money from Meadow Games for making this review and putting content out for this game. All right, guys, let's go ahead and jump right in, starting off with the theme. So I'm gonna go ahead and give the theme a 7.5 out of 10. I think Druid does a good or solid job of tying the mechanics of the game and kind of what you're doing into this overall theme, which is you are taking on the role of a powerful mystic, and you are summoning these animal spirits to try and claim these different artifacts and relics, which are gonna help you become more powerful or give you more victory points the more that you collect. This is a set collection style game. However, you guys do have to be careful of the darkness, because if you let the darkness get too heavy, you can lose a lot of the artifacts that you have claimed. So I do want to go ahead and jump down to the table real quick. I'm going to show you these mechanics, guys, and should basically explain to you how they tie right into the theme. All right, guys, so we are down here at the table where we have everything set up for what would be a 2-player playthrough of Druid. And as I mentioned, you are taking on the role of a powerful mystic, and you are going to be sending out these animal spirits, right? Which is going to be a hand of cards, and you're going to have all these different animal spirits with different colors, and I think I'm losing some here. I think these are more. You'll have 15 total cards in your hand with each of these different animal spirits, and you are using these animal spirits to try and claim these artifacts here in the middle, or some of these relics, and these are all color coded. Each of these particular relics are going to have a primary color and a secondary color, and the players are looking to have the color majority in either the primary or the secondary to claim these particular artifacts. And so the way the game is going to work is you're going to have a planning phase almost, where you're going to start by selecting 3 cards out of your hand of 15. You're going to play them face down. Once everybody's ready, you'll flip those 3 cards over. Then you'll select 2 more cards, put those face down. Then everybody will flip those over, and then you will select 1 more card, put that face down, and then flip that over. And so everybody will then have 6 cards played. And let me just see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then at that point, what you're going to do is you are basically going to go object by object, and you're going to see who has the majority for that particular one. So in this example, we'll just do these 2 real quick. This particular idol right here, the primary color is a blue. This player has 3, this player has none, this player has the blue majority, so he would be able to claim this idol. All right, and then in this example here, we do have a tie. If there ever is a tie in the primary, you go to the secondary. This player has 1 red, so this player would then claim this idol. And so you're just going to go around until all these idols are gone, or sometimes there's a tie for both and these idols might stay. Sometimes there is a darkness card out here, and if any players have played this sequence here, or played those cards, then the darkness would be abolished. However, if the darkness does not get abolished, it goes into a veil pile. And if there's ever 3 or more darkness cards in that veil pile, then everybody's going to lose the artifacts that have collected until they are equal with the person that has the lowest number of artifacts. So if you don't take care of these darkness cards, they can be very damaging to you. The very last thing you're going to do is you see these relics up here. Any player that has played those cards, those color cards, will be able to claim these powerful relics for use in later. And so that's pretty much the mechanics of the game. And again, it is this set collection you're playing these animal spirit cards, you're trying to collect these different artifacts. The more one type of artifacts you collect, the more victory points you see. If you manage to collect 10 of one thing, that's 46 victory points. So the more artifacts you collect, the more powerful you are going to become. And so I think the game does a good job with that. Where I give it the 0.5 is it does a little bit more than standard set collection games by having this darkness mechanic kind of in the game. Is sometimes you might have to sacrifice, or you might have to look and see what somebody else is doing and convince them to sacrifice for the darkness. And also what's kind of cool is you're taking these reveals step by step. So you play 3 out, you reveal, I can see what my opponent has played, and then now I'm trying to gauge to see what he's doing before I put 2 more out. And so you're kind of seeing what everybody is playing as you're moving along, so you can kind of formulate strategy. So I think it does a little bit more thematically than what maybe some other set collection games do. So that's why I'm giving this one a 7.5 out of 10. All right, I'm gonna stay down here at the table, guys, and talk about the components for a sec. I'm gonna go ahead and give the components a 7 out of 10. I think there's some good, solid components. All the cards are small, mini Euro-sized cards. The artwork on some of these cards is really, really nice. I think it's gorgeous on all the different animal colors. I enjoy the artwork on all these cards. Now, the artifact cards, I think they are a little basic, but you know, sometimes basic is good. Darkness cards, they all look the same. Relic cards, again, just very basic and generic, but that doesn't mean bad, right? It's not great, but it's not bad. It's just kind of right there in the middle. Now, I do wish there was a little bit more variety of these relics. The only other 2 relics that are not out here is a treasure chest and a knife, but everyone else is the same, and they do the same stuff. So I wish there's a little bit more variability in that. And then the last thing is the box. I do love the box. Obviously, this is a small card game, right? So you can travel with this box. I love that pull out. That's so cool, like that little drawer. And then you'll have a spot where you're gonna put everything in there. So components wise, again, just solid, 7 out of 10. All right, guys, moving on to the setup here. So I'm gonna go ahead and give the setup a 7 out of 10. I think there's some good setup to this game. Now, for some people, it might be really tedious because what you're gonna have to do is separate out all the relic cards, all the artifact cards, and then all the animal cards. You're gonna have to deal 3 copies of each color to each player. You're gonna have to mix up the relic cards, put those out, but that's not that bad. And then you're gonna have to set up your middle row. And just depending on the amount of players that you have, that's going to be the longest thing. You know, in a 2-player game, you'll have 7. 3-player game, I think it's like 9. 4-player game, it's like 10. And then a 5-player game, I think it's like 11 or something like that. So the more players you have, the more piles you're going to have to set that up. So that's what just makes it a little tedious, but 7 out of 10 for me. All right, moving on to the length. So the box, it does say 30 minutes per playthrough, and I would say that's somewhat accurate for a 2-player game. If you guys were playing with any more players, I would move that up considerable amount. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this length a 6 out of 10 here. I don't have a problem with the round structure or the phases of the game, but really what takes the longest is that 3-step process of I play 3 cards, reveal, then play 2 cards, reveal, and 1 card and reveal. Because what's gonna happen is if you are playing with very competitive people or you're just trying to be very strategic, you play your 3 cards and everybody reveals them, and then you look to see what everybody has played, and then you're analyzing to see what's out there, to see what they're going for. And so when you're having to deal with, you know, like just in a 2-player game, 7 different piles, and then you have 3 different relic cards, the more players you have, the more piles you got to deal with, the more relic cards you're going to have to deal with. It really can bog the game down. So, you know, for me, most 2-player games are in that 30 to 40 minute range. We did play this twice at 2 players, and it was more of a 45-50 minute experience because there's more piles and we're all trying to figure out what everybody is going for. You're trying to claim as many artifacts as you can with the cards. So you're trying to figure out all these different combinations while trying to claim relic cards as well. So there's a chance that the game can get bogged down through some sort of analysis paralysis or strategic planning. So that's why I'm giving this one a 6 out of 10. All right, guys, moving on to the difficulty. As always, the lower the number, the easier we feel the game is. The higher the number, the more challenging we feel this game is. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this one a 3 out of 10. I think Druid is super simple and easy to pick up and learn and understand. However, the challenging aspect of the game is, again, you are trying to compete not only for relics, but you're trying to compete for artifacts as well. And so it's very easy to get mixed up sometimes of like, oh, okay, well, what scores me a bulk of my points is going to be those artifact cards, but I want some of these relics as well. So I'm going to put these down and, oh shoot, I put down the wrong card. That can happen from time to time, but at least it doesn't feel detrimental, right? The relics don't feel so powerful that if you don't get them, you don't miss out. But it's a challenge trying to keep up with, 2 or 3 different things at one time, especially if darkness cards come out as well. But overall, I think it's super simple, super easy to pick up and play. 3 out of 10 for the difficulty here. All right, guys, moving on to replayability. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this one a 7 out of 10. I think there's some good replayability with this game, especially at 2 players. Now, there is a good amount of artifact cards, and so especially at the 2-player level, you're not gonna use all those different cards because you're just making piles of 6. And so, there's going to be variability when you play that. Obviously, each of these different artifacts have a different primary color, main color. Primary color, secondary color. All the different relics have different combinations. The darkness have different combinations. Some playthroughs might only be 1 darkness that comes out. Some might be 4 or 5 darkness that come out, right? So I think there's some good variability with the game. Each time you play it, you're going to have somewhat of a different experience and feel to it. So 7 out of 10, good for me. All right, guys, moving on to the price. So you can pick Druid up on Boardlandia for $15.99. If you guys want an extra 5% off, you can use our code POWERCOUPLE to bring that total down to $15.20. And for $15.20, I'm gonna go ahead and give this a 7.5 out of 10. I think that is a very good price point. Normally games like this retail about 15 to 20 bucks. So being on the lower side of that right here at 15.20, I think it's a very good price point. So 7.5 out of 10 for me. All right, guys, let's go ahead and move on to my overall rating. I'm gonna go ahead and give Druid a 7 out of 10. I think Druid is a good, solid, unique take on a set collection style game. I do really enjoy that 3-step process of the rounds. Now, I wish I didn't have so many cards in my hand. 15 cards is somewhat a lot to manage sometimes and go through, but like I said, I really enjoy that. I play a certain amount of cards, reveal, then I have an opportunity to see what everybody played, and then I get to pick more, and you're doing this step process, and I like how you're able to gain multiple artifacts or maybe relics in a given round. I'm really glad that they didn't just make like 2 or 3 options to go for and then everybody's trying to go for those particular things. There are certain aspects of the game where there's maybe some stuff that nobody else is trying to go for that I can go ahead and pick up. I do also enjoy that darkness mechanic. It kind of throws in a little, I don't want to say hiccup because that's the wrong word, but it throws in a little, a rut for kind of everybody that's playing the game. If somebody is really crushing it, like my wife really enjoys set collection games, so she might be crushing the whole thing. This darkness card comes out. I'm gonna be like, you might need to clear that. Because I ain't gonna clear it because I don't want it to get cleared because you got more artifacts than me. And if 3 come out, then guess what? You're down to the same amount of artifacts as I am. So it kind of is almost this unique catch-up mechanic, but also you guys can kind of banter back and forth to be like, okay, should we try and cooperate to clear this out? Someone take the sacrifice and the hit, and I won't steal all the artifacts, right? So I think that's really cool as well. But all in all, guys, look, I think this is just a good, solid set collection game that brings in a little bit more, I can't really think of the word right now. Brings in a little bit more flavor. That's what I'm looking at. Brings in a little bit more flavor than maybe some of the other set collection games that are out there. It's small, it's travel size. You guys can take this with you. It's easy to get other people to play. Definitely we played this with my mom and she picked it up pretty quickly. Just a good, solid, all-around game. 7 out of 10 for me. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed this content. If you did, smash that like button, hit that notification bell. Comment down below, have you guys played Druid or Darkness? What were your thoughts and opinions on it? And do you feel the same here as me? And as always, guys, if you are not subscribed to our channel, please go ahead and subscribe so we can keep bringing you some more awesome content. All right, guys. Have a great one. Bye.